because all of your role models are corrupt. Look at Jerry Sandusky. And during the same period of time, look at John-Travolta. That you really believe Penn State is the only one. Think about it. You see, the mainstream media has this power. The mainstream media is able to basically get a signal, and they broadcast out what has to go out there according to the powers that be. You see, these controllers, these deciders, push a button, and when that button is pushed, only certain news will get out there. Right? It's controlled by corporate shadowy forces behind the corporate, behind the oligarchy. It's a plutarchy. It's a technocracy. But the best way to describe it is just a group of people who are deciding what the masses are allowed to know. And should they be allowed to? Should there be anyone who can do this? Yes. But are the right people in that place? No. They are just there temporarily. And, I could describe it the same way when I talk about one world government. Right? And you can see 5 years ago I made these statements, and I stick to the same thing, always had the same philosophy. It's all tied in with Jesus. It's all tied in with the prophecy that many of us have heard and many of us are actually faithful and believe. But getting back to why it's so quintessential about this case, it's the tip of the iceberg. I'm telling you right now, you would find a lot of the same type of thing going on in other colleges. I'm going to name a few where you can poke around and investigate, and I wish they would. I wish everything would get exposed starting now this year. Rutgers, Boston College, Brown, Harvard, MIT, Yale, Dartmouth, Pace, Columbia, and all down the line. All down the line. Notre Dame, UCLA, A&M. You gotta think about all the colleges, and especially the ones that have a big, big college football program. Think about it. There's so much more going on behind the scenes, hidden. And the governments in the area, they know about it. The administrations, those in authority, they know about it. We're talking about just probably a few hundred gaggles of people, cartels. Now, it doesn't have to be in the drug industry to be a cartel, the drug business. It can be in the sports business. It can be in the medical business. It can be in the government business, as I said, and that's what it's always popular for people to go back to the government, because the government ties everything else in. They always got their hands on when there's money being made and shit happening. Now look, it has to do with money. So listen clearly. Jerry Sandusky could not do what he did without the money. He had to have money. Now that's not to say that all crime relies on money. No, in fact, some crime is, done by psychopaths who are killing people and chopping them up and putting them under the house, and they live in the poor neighborhood and they have no money. That's possible, but it's the minority of the real big crime. You see, crime is punished unequally, and especially in America, there's a lot of punishment going on, but there's no justice. There's no true justice, because most of the people that end up in jail are of the poor type, and the crimes that they did only affected one other people, well, including themselves. They're harming themselves a lot of times, in most cases. And they may have had one other victim. Okay? Now, crime should be punished, but I'm saying, look, there's a lot bigger fish to fry. Can I say that again? In America, what's being covered up and what is not being rooted out of society, there is a lot bigger fish to fry. Now, who can get at it? I don't know. But something has to get going. Something has to. I'm going to plot it out myself. If I have to be some kind of undercover superhero, I'm going to do it. And you people have to start helping. You've got to hear the voice of reason and wisdom. You cannot exist as a society with this type of thing going on. Oh, you can still accept that? The idolization of John-Travolta? Since what, 20, 30 years now? Since even before that, when he was doing that stupid TV show? Well, it wasn't so stupid, but back in the 70s, it was just getting going. It was still a little bit naive, a little bit innocent in America. Till you worked your way all the way through the 70s and into the 80s. Forget about it. The corruption was so deep, the rotting was so firm and thorough in the core. The whole nation was doomed to the fate it has today. It must be rooted out. And I'm telling you, don't be clinging to that flag. America is finished. America is finished. If it's ever been finished before, Civil War, 1860s, no, that wasn't bad enough. Brothers and cousins fighting against each other. It wasn't bad enough. Now you've got this rotting to the core. That's America. Jerry Sandusky, tip of the iceberg. So, I'm giving you a general view of what's actually happening in America. And why I was always suspicious, why I didn't like it, why I didn't say this was no golden age, great civilization that they're all tooting it up to be. Oh, you don't like to hear that. You're patriotic. You want to believe in your country, your superpower status, your, what is it, Chevy mom and apple pie bullshit corporation nonsense. That's not what made America great. I know what made America great. No, I know. And it's not just about America. I'm like a globalist. I'm a global-oriented person. I want to see a unified, harmonious world. But America's not going to lead the way. Jesse Ventura will never say the Pledge of Allegiance again. He won't salute the flag. He will not get his day in court. He's a former governor. How much of what he says is true, I don't know. I always take everything with a grain of salt. But, you know, how much of what Jesse Ventura says about Jerry Sandusky is going to parallel what I say? I think a lot. How much of what he said is paralleling what I say about America? I think a lot. What his ulterior motives are? I don't know. What his plan is? I don't know. We have something in common with philosophy of the politics and the culture and the society. But I'm just giving him as an example. I'm just throwing that out there as somebody mega successful and, you know, career in wrestling, then government, and then TV show, because he made a name for himself. Myself? No. I'm always staying under the radar. But you hear it here first because I'm telling you the same things. And how can I know? I don't have money and power and prestige and reputation and status in the society. I ain't no high society. I'm a rebel. And yet still, I can see what's going on within that country, that system. And I don't like it. And I'm not going to stand for it. You hear me? And you got to stand with me. That's the only way we're going to get anything done right. Now, this tip of the iceberg, what I'm talking about here is with all these colleges in all these states and all these cities. There's cover-ups going on everywhere. And it would be a great day if we all come out with what we know and just reveal it. Just reveal it. And then, that's repentance. And I'm going to start to forgive. That's where forgiveness can start. Forgiveness and healing can only happen when you reveal what's been going on. Now, my videos reveal stuff. I'm always showing the shit that I do, my mistakes and my wrongs. Maybe I don't show all of them. That's kind of hard to do. I think my videos would get banned. So I do it little by little. See, I've taken 6 years to do something. But how long does America have to take? Well, if you get started on something, maybe you can do it in 10 or 20 years. But if you never start, it ain't never going to happen. So with the Jerry Sandusky trial, if we use it as an example, it's probably, as I say in the conspiracy, to use it as a red herring. Because I'm very suspicious as why it took so long and why did it come out when it did. It came out probably because there's something going on somewhere where an even bigger fish had to cover up. And they pull the strings with the media. They're pulling the strings with the media so that they don't get in the limelight. If somebody can find that, I would be so satisfied to know that. Because to me, it's just so suspicious. Okay, so aside from that point, look, I can make several points here. This one, it's kind of on shaky ground. Maybe a lot of people would just dismiss it and say, well, this guy is twisted or whatever, this guy here. Okay, look, the other point is this. It is the tip of the iceberg because there is more that's going on. Even if it's not being put out there to cover up anything else, it's still the fact that everything else out there being covered up on its own. So root it out, discover it, bring it to court. Even if the system's corrupt, even if the system is weak, even the system is lazy, even the system is complacent and apathetic, it still has to do something when you put a compelling argument in front of it. Jerry Sandusky being put into that court system in central PA, I think they call it Center County, that jurisdiction had to face a compelling incident. That is compelling. It is without denial. They have to face it. So the judge gets on the case. The judge gets up there and has to preside over it and rule on it. Which, I don't know, I guess they seem to be doing a pretty good job as far as judicial system is capable. What is the priority of what to go after? Was Jerry Sandusky a priority? Well, yeah, for that area, Pennsylvania, I mean, you can only focus on so many things. Is it economy that we need to focus on? Homeless, health, obesity, drugs, crime, sexuality, rape, corruption in the corporations, international relations, Middle East, Iran, Russia, China. What's the priority? So that I don't have that answer. I can give some suggestions. My wisest approach toward it would be to look at what ties everything else in. Look at what has connections to everything else. And there's where you go for the priority. Of course, government people, when they make their decisions on what to handle, they're always prioritizing. And whether they do it properly, I'm not so sure. In fact, no, I don't agree. They don't really prioritize properly. They don't think about it enough because they make themselves too busy with whatever they've got going on. And lo and behold, you find out someone like me comes along and says, that's not the priority, but you made it a priority to your own undoing. These government people have to be removed. The bureaucracy has to be disassembled. How can somebody do this? Is the president going to do this? No, not anyone that's currently in the news, who's being promoted, who has the money. None of them are of any use. You take them all together and they're not worth a pile of beans. The people know this. You, my viewers, all of you know this. You all know this. So we right now have to suspect everybody in positions of power. Whenever you look at each authority entity, like mayor's office, city hall, then up to the state level, capitals, then when you look at colleges, the administrations, the dean, the president, when you look at the sports hierarchy, the team structure, the coaches, the owners, and we're also talking about unions, union leaders, they have branch offices. I mean, I'm talking about all corporations. I'm talking about all franchises of retail nature, from Walmarts to Kmarts to supermarkets and their administrative structure. So I'm basically talking about the 1%, although it does exceed into the 2%. So we're basically talking about like 1 out of 50 people in the country, and then the ratio will increase to less than 1% in the rest of the world. See, the 1% of the United States I consider is to be top heavy. Not because of the fact there shouldn't be so many leaders, but because so many of the leaders are corrupt now in America. There is a full saturation of corruption in the 1 to 2%. So what I'm saying is that not all of them are priority. I mean, you can't go after 1 out of 50, 1 out of 70, like approximately, people in the United States. And I'm talking of the adults. You just can't do it. There's not enough manpower or anything just to do that. If they're listening, which not a lot of them really spend a lot of time, but some of them do. Some of them, their job is to monitor people like me. So as you're listening, I want to call to you, to your heart, to your soul, to your conscience. Get yourself right before it's too late. Because it's not just me that's coming after you. It's God. God is getting down to business pretty soon. Supernaturally, it's going to happen. Too bad if you don't believe in it. It's still going to happen anyhow. So when I'm talking about this vast amount of people that need to be put to justice and punished and imprisoned, I'm calling for a new prison system to be built